So we're moving on to level 2 delta math problems, and we are going to solve these as well. So this is our second video of our 3-video part today. Same idea. We want to make sure that we have a great divide. We make sure we keep up with that equal marks, because a lot of our problem is that we get all messy on our paper and try to hold on to a lot of math in our head at one time. Now at this point, x plus 1, there's nothing on the side with the radical. So x plus 1 is already over there. We've already done the best we can do. There are 2 variables as well. So this is by itself on that side. So at that rate, now we just want to get rid of the square root bar. So we're going to square both sides. So that means we are going to now have the square root of 7x. Oh, sorry, no square root. So we just squared it, and that gets rid of that. So that gets rid of that. 7x plus 25 equals. Now, x plus 1 squared means that we are writing x plus 1, x plus 1. This can be boxed or FOILed. So if you wanted to do your box method, so x1, x1, x times x is x squared, 1x, x times 1 is 1x, and 1 times 1 is 1. Combine our like terms, which would be these guys in the diagonal. So x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now, big flag. I mentioned it yesterday, but as soon as you see that x squared and there's only one of those, you should be thinking quadratics. So you're going to either need to use quadratic formula to solve, which works every time, or you can factor and then you're set equal to 0 and solve. So we are looking for a singular answer. All right, so we are going to move everything to this side because we like x squared to stay positive. So I'm going to subtract 7x, and I'm going to subtract 25. So now I have 0 equals x squared minus 5x, because 2 minus 7x is a negative 5, minus 24. Now we can try to factor it first because we really need to get comfortable with that. So I challenge you to write this down. So 24, and we're looking for 5. And if it doesn't work, we'll go back and do our quadratic equation. So our factors of 24 would be 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, no 5, and then we're back to our 6. 1 and 24 will never give us 5. 2 and 12 will never give us 5. 4 and 6 will never give us 5. 3 and 8, though, if I put those together, we want it to be a multiply to be a negative, so only one can be negative, because a negative times a negative gives a positive. And we want it to combine, so where our b value is negative, which means the biggest guy needs to be negative. Negative 8 plus 3 would give me negative 5. Negative 8 times 3 would give me negative 24. So we have x plus 3, x minus 8. Set those equal to 0 and solve. So x is going to be a negative 3 and x is going to be 8. Now, when you have a positive and a negative answer like this, you most definitely want to check your work and make sure that though algebraically these are the answers, that they actually will work and you can use them. So we're going to take an equation. So square root of 7x plus 25 equals x plus 1. And we're going to plug in both our answer choices. So 7 times a negative 3 plus 25. And this whole thing is under that root bar. So make sure we're keeping that together. Negative 3 plus 1. So that's going to be a negative 21 plus 25, which is the square root of 4, equals negative 3 plus 1. Square root of 4 is a positive 2. And this is going to give us a negative 2. Which means they don't match. So that does not work. If we try our 8, so 7 times 8 plus 25 equals 8 plus 1. So 7 times 8 we know to be 56 plus 25 is 81. So it's the square root of 81. Square root of 81 is 9, which is 9. So that answer is good to go. So 8 is perfect. Negative 3 does not work to make this true. Okay, so we are going to use our 8 answer. So the only answer you would put into Desmos would be that 8. Okay, so we'll try the next one. Again, I challenge you to pause the video, try it yourself first and see what happens. Again, we have nothing on the outside of this 56 minus 8x. So we just need to jump right on in and start squaring everything to get rid of our root bar. And so now we have 56 minus 8x equals x minus 7 times x minus 7. Remember, do not distribute this through. That means this whole thing times itself. If I did FOIL, I've got x squared. So first, outer, inner, last. So x squared minus 14x plus 49 is equal to 56 minus 8x. And again, your red flag is this guy. You know you're going to have a quadratic, so you're probably going to need to factor or use quadratic formula. Get everything to the side where your x squared stays positive. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 56. I'm going to add 8 because it's negative, so add 8x. So I now have 0 equals x squared. Negative 14 plus 8 is going to give me a negative 6x. And then 49 minus 56 is going to give me a negative 7. Negative 7. So factors of 7, that will add or subtract to give me 6. The only factors of 7 is 1 and 7. We need b to be negative, so our big guy is going to be negative. So x minus 7, x plus 1. So that's going to give me a positive 7 possible answer and a negative 1 possible answer. So we're going to plug these in and check them. So to 56 minus 8x all over x minus 7. I'm going to try the negative 1 first. So 56 minus 8 times a negative 1 equals a negative 1 minus 7. So we want it to come out and give us a negative 8 in the end. Negative 8 says 56 plus 9, which is going to give us 65. And the square root of 65 is not a negative 8. So negative 1 looks no good. Now if we keep going, we're going to try our 7. 56 minus 8 times 7 equals 7 minus 7. So ideally we're going to get a 0. 56 minus 8 times 7. So 56 was 8 times 7. What we need, 56. So 56 minus 56, square root of 0 is indeed 0. So the positive 7 works, but the negative 1 does not work. So positive 7 is going to be your answer on this second level 2 problem. I'm going to jump on to level 3. So level 3 is not much different, except this time there are 2 radicals and there's something on the outside. So this is going to end up being a major bonus. So again, if you're good with level 2 and level 1, go ahead and check out and go to your next video or start your delta if you want. But if you were into getting bonus points on our quiz or just making sure you're ahead of the game because it could come later, this is your guy. So level 3, we're going to square both sides. Because if we can get one, we can get rid of this radical by squaring this alone. So that means I have the square root of x minus 1 times the square root of x minus 1 equals x minus 2. So that's beautiful. Now, multiplying radical numbers. So square root of x times the square root of x is going to give me x. Square root of x times a negative 1 gives me a negative 1 square root of x. Same thing here. And then negative 1 times negative 1 gives me 1. Simplify this. So we have x minus 2 square roots of x plus 1 equals x minus 2. We still have this guy that's a problem. We need to get rid of him. So if I move my x over, those guys canceled out. So now I have negative 2 square root of x plus 1 equals a negative 2. I'm going to move my 1. So negative 2 square root of x equals a negative 3. Divide by a negative 2 because that's multiplication. And square root of x, square root of x is equal to 3 over 2. So now we're going to square both. And you end up with 9 over 4, which is also 2.25. Both answers would be correct as far as I'm concerned. And I'm pretty sure delta is good with both as well, whether you give fractional or decimal. All right, we're going to do it again, but this time it's a positive 2. So we're going to square both sides, which means I have square root of x plus 2 times the square root of x plus 2. equals, this is one big square root bar, so that's all gone, x plus 10. This is the pretty side. Now we're going to distribute, or you can use your box method. If we want to do box method, I'll show you it too. So square root of x, 2, and 2. So the square root of x times the square root of x is x. And the square root of x times 2 is going to be 2 times the square root of x, 2 times the square root of x again, and 2 times 2 is 4. Add these together, you get 4 square roots of x. So I have x plus 4 square roots of x plus 4 equals x plus 10. And I just pulled out my like terms, combined these guys to get this. Subtract x from both sides, and I'm just working around my radical here. These guys go away. So I now have 4 square roots of x plus 4 equals 10. This is the guy that needs to get by himself, so we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. 4 square roots of x equals 6. Divide both sides by 4. And this is going to also reduce. So I'm going to have the square root of x equals 3 over 2. And you're going to square it again. And this is completely, I just picked these problems at random. So just a coincidence that this is 9 over 4 as well, otherwise known as 2.25. But the biggest portion that might be considered sort of new and needs a little more attention is you're multiplying. These are called complex numbers, but radical time radical, which we've done before. But now you're just using your box method and FOIL to do the same thing. All right, guys, that's level 2 and level 3. Great job for hanging in there. Hope you got it in your notes just in case.